September's over, summer's over. But that means it's fall, and that means it's Halloween, and that means we've got another wrap-up video. So let's talk about what I read in September, what I picked up in September, what I hope to read in October, and some very exciting channel news that I am stoked to share with you guys. I kicked September off with our buddy read. Started this book while I was traveling, finished it shortly after I got home, and that book is The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. This was long awaited. It sat on my shelf for way too long. I will be sharing a lot of my thoughts on this during our live stream, which is actually tonight as I'm recording this video. So if you didn't watch the live stream when it went up, you can always pop over there and watch that after this. But I did very much enjoy this read. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I found that it was slow to find its own identity. It felt very much like a lot of other books that I've read, like it was borrowing a lot of elements from those books. You can tell that Evan Winter himself is a fan of epic fantasy and a lot of other books that, you know, the community at whole has probably read and already enjoyed. But I did find near the end of this book that it did really find its own identity. It came into its own, and it made me very excited to read book 2 and beyond. My only primary gripe with this book, I think, is the lack of actual dragons. I think this book was a lot of setup, so I'm hoping to see more of that in book 2. And I'd really love to see the magic in this universe expanded on as well. But overall, great book. Very much enjoyed it. Can't wait to see what happens next. Next, I kind of wanted to ease my way into fall, autumny kind of cozy vibes with something different that I hadn't read before. Usually I like to do a murder mystery of some kind. Not too crazy, not too much horror, but still leans into that space and gets you ready for spooky season. And the perfect book for that this year was The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. I could not remember his name for a second, but apparently I did. 3 names is usually reserved for either a really great author or a serial killer, not usually anywhere in the middle. In this case, really great author. I very much enjoyed this book. I think it was another 4-star read for me. I can't remember my ratings, guys. I wing them. I just make them up. Whatever I'm feeling like in the minute, that is what I rate the book. And I'm pretty sure I rated this one a 4. Really fun book, really good twists. Didn't see all of them coming. I very much enjoyed the main character in this book. I don't want to say he was like investigating it, but like the primary person looking into the case. And then the primary detective as well, Anna. Really interesting relationship between the 2 of them. It was fun to see them kind of unravel the entire story together, and it felt like you were kind of unraveling it at the same time as the main character that you're following was. Really cool, interesting dynamic, really cool fantasy twist on the murder mystery genre, and I'm really excited to read book 2 and see how the rest of this series progresses. Always excited to find a new murder mystery series. The last book I read for September, and I expected to read more books in September myself. I had planned to read more books in September, and I may still finish another one. We'll talk about that a little bit, but I wanted to find something short and spooky that is really had like the essence of Halloween, had the essence of horror. Kind of that next step between short fantasy murder mystery and nice, chunky, fun horror book. And what I ended up with was exactly that. I grabbed It by Stephen King. I read this book in, I think, 2.5 weeks-ish. I was hoping to knock out like 100 pages a day and still have lots of room at the end of September to read another book. Instead, I have like 5 days if I want to squeeze another book into September. We'll kind of see how that goes. But I loved this book, Questionable Scenes. We all know that there's questionable scenes in this book, but I really enjoyed spending time with the Losers Club. I really enjoyed the story as a whole. Very much like coming-of-age story, I would say, even more so than a horror novel. I've only seen part 1 of like the new remake of the It movies, and I've seen the vast majority of the miniseries with Tim Curry. I don't remember most of it. I know that a lot of like the violence and stuff is kind of like stripped out of that, and it's very like made for TV in the 90s. But boy, is this book way more messed up than I was expecting it to be. Pennywise is responsible for a lot more death in the book than he is in the movie from what I can remember. This is very much worth a read. I'm glad I finally got to it. And anyone who has watched previous videos on this channel knows that I've always considered myself like not a real like Stephen King fan. I've never really gotten into a lot of Stephen King books, though I did rate 11/22/63 5 stars. This year you guys got me to read The Stand. Now I've also read It. I'm getting so tired of holding this book. It is so heavy. I'm gonna put it down. But I can honestly say now, you know, I gave The Stand 4 stars. I ended up giving It 4.5 stars, deducted some points for some questionable things. But I think I can say, guys, I'm a Stephen King fan. I'm a Stephen King convert. I'm gonna read more Stephen King. I've had my mind changed. It was incredible. The Stand, until the end of it, was incredible. And I really love 11/22/63. That's 3 out of 4 Stephen King books that I've read that I've really loved and enjoyed. So I guess I'm a Stephen King fan now. you win. Congratulations. Now, I was hoping to read one more book in September, as I've kind of led on to. I've tried like 3 or 4 books since putting down It, and nothing is grabbing me. I think just the epic scale of that novel has left me kind of like, maybe I need some time before I get into another book. I've started to read a few different ones, and I have one that I think is starting to grab me, which we'll talk about in a second. It was a recent pickup. But honestly, at the end of the day, if I don't finish another book before the end of the month, not a big deal. It's okay to take a break between books. I'm someone who likes to just get right into another book as soon as I finish one, but sometimes you just need to digest. Maybe that's what we'll do. I don't know, we'll see. But let's talk about some of the books that I picked up in September. Now, the first book that I picked up was one that has been trending online. I had a hard time finding one after the misprinted editions of it were pulled from a lot of bookshelves, and that book is Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. I'm excited. I've never read anything by R.F. Kuang. I haven't read Babel. I haven't read The Poppy War. So I'm excited to get into this at some point. I know it's getting like some pretty mixed reviews. Maybe it'll be different for me with this being my very first R.F. Kuang book. It was different for me with The Devils than a lot of people, as it being my first Joe Abercrombie book. But at the very least, at the end of the day, this is a gorgeous, look at how pretty this book is. It's signed by R.F. Kuang. Really excited to read this book at some point. I don't think it's going to be in October, but I do hope to, hopefully, like, maybe I can squeeze this in before the end of the year. Maybe it ends up being a new DNF that I can talk about, but maybe it ends up being a new favorite as well, to be determined. Next is one of the books that I have started kind of like playing with and seeing if I could get into. Nice short book that I could probably easily read it in a week if I can really get into the story. And this is one that I picked up after a recommendation from a staff member at Indigo. And apparently maybe Tara's a little messed up, but that is The Starving Saints by Caitlin Starling. I haven't read any Caitlin Starling, sorry. Honestly, this book just like grabbed me because the cover is really, really cool. Also, look at this cool new bookmark I got, guys. Really excited about it. Really fun. It says just one more chapter on the back. Pretty classic kind of like bookmark phrase. But anyways, this cover is cool as hell. Really kind of messed up. It sounds really messed up. So I'm gonna go into this, see if I can read this before the end of the month. I'm not gonna count it as a DNF if I don't get into it, and we'll come back to this at another time. But I don't know, it's getting me, it's grabbing me a little bit right now. I've heard good things about it. I've heard good things about Caitlin Starling, if not for being a little bit of a messed up author and for writing some pretty messed up horror. But we'll see how this goes. I have no idea what to expect, but I'm excited to read it and see what happens. Next, after a recommendation from somebody in the community, and I am so sorry I cannot find that message and I cannot remember who it was, but I wanted to pick up some Adam Neville. I've never read any of his work before. Picked up The Reddening. Again, really cool cover. I've heard really good things about this book. I've also heard really messed up things about this book, but this is another one that I am hoping to read in October, and we'll kind of see how that goes. I don't really know what it's about. Cool title, cool cover. Let me know if you think that I should squeeze this into October, and we'll kind of go from there. Next on my list is something that I think is like truly incredible and worth celebrating, and that's the people who subscribe to the channel while they're watching this video. If you haven't done it already, please drop a like, subscribe, stick around, hang out with us. Let me know in the comments below what you're most excited to read in October. And now I'm going to share some books that I thrifted as well. Last time I was at the thrift store, I picked up 3 books that I'm excited to read that I hadn't found before, and they're in really great condition. And the very first one is Bird Box. This is one that I've heard a lot of things about. I have never seen the movie with, what is it, Sandra Bullock, I think is in it. But this is great. I grabbed it because I'm also excited that it's not like a movie tie-in cover or anything like that. There's no Netflix logos on it. Really short read. I didn't realize how quick of a book this would be, but this sounds really fun and I'm excited to see how that goes. Maybe also an October read. I don't know, but it was like $2 and I'm excited to read it. Next is a real mixed bag, I think. It's another book that I've heard so much about, could very well fit into an October read. Don't know if the writing style, from what I've heard about it, will be something that I get into, but that book is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. Maybe I'm ready for some trauma, guys. Maybe I'm ready to give this one a shot finally. I've never read it before. Maybe this is the year to do it. I did not pay $10.89 for this book. Again, it was another like $2 book, really great shape. Whoever picked this up started to read it and then said, maybe not, and dropped it off at the thrift store. So maybe I end up doing the same thing and this ends up in a little library. Maybe I end up really loving it. To be determined. Could be an October read. Probably not. I have way too much that I want to read in October. Probably not even a this year read. But it was cheap and I've got it now, and eventually maybe I'll get to it and see how that goes. And the last book that I thrifted while I was at that particular thrift store is World War Z, or sorry, Americans, World War Z by Max Brooks. I've never read anything by Max Brooks before. I have seen World War Z when it came out in theaters and maybe, you know, another time at some point on TV, but I have never read the book. I never really thought to grab a Max Brooks book, but I'm excited to read this one as well. I love zombies. I like the movie. I've heard good things about the book. Again, probably not an October read, but $2. It's an eventually read, right? But next, let's talk about what I plan to read in October. So the very first thing that I'm going to be starting October with, absolutely no question at all, is going to be our Discord's October buddy read. And just because it's our Discord's October buddy read doesn't mean that you can't read along with us. Feel free to jump in and join our Discord at the link in the description below. But you can also partake by joining our community here on YouTube. Just head over to my channel, go to the community tab on your mobile device, and you can post there and interact as well. Let me know what you think of this book if you pick it up. But that book is Grave Empire by Richard Swan. This is going to be my first Richard Swan book. This was nominated in our Discord by Hectate Reads. It's a book that she's read before and she really enjoyed. Other people in our Discord server are also excited to either read a new Richard Swan book or read their first Richard Swan book. This is one I have no idea what it's about. I know it's the first book in a second trilogy in this universe, but it's still a standalone trilogy, so you don't have to have read the first one in order to enjoy this one. It means if I really love it, I have more books that I can go back and read. So I'm going to start this one hopefully as close to the beginning of October as I can. We'll see if I end up picking up another book and need an extra day or two to finish it. But that is the goal. Going to read this one, and we'll do another chat at the end of October to talk about our thoughts on this book. And I hope you choose to partake with us. So again, link in the description below. Join our Discord community. Come and read The Grave Empire with us. It's going to be a ton of fun. The next book that I am promising myself to read in October is a book that I promised myself to read last October, so we'll see how that goes. An absolute classic that I've been wanting to read for a really long time, and that is The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty. Blatty? I don't know, man. But really cool cover. I love this little like mass market paperback edition. It does say limited edition. I don't know why, but really fun looking. I know that this is a really messed up book. I've obviously seen The Exorcist movie, classic, but I've never read the book. So I'm going to do it this October. I promise. I know there's other people in some of the communities that I'm in that want to read this as well. Maybe we can read it together as kind of like a bonus bunny read. Bunny read? Buddy read. Bonus buddy read. Maybe we'll call it a bunny read from now on. Looking forward to this one a lot. This is one of the books that I'm looking the most forward to reading this spooky season. And then last but not least, I'm looking to read another Stephen King book. Maybe like right on the heels of it. Maybe it's a good idea. Maybe it's not. Another one that I've wanted to read for a really long time and thought about reading last year, but it's just been sitting on my shelf. And that is Salem's Lot by Stephen King. I can't think of like a better kind of like more spooky season kind of vibe book than a book about vampires called Salem's Lot. I have not seen the movie or any sort of like adaptation of Salem's Lot, but I've obviously only ever heard good things about it. And now that I'm kind of like in my Stephen King era, I think this is a good place to start for Halloween. I don't know, maybe you have a different recommendation for me in the comments. Let me know what you think the perfect Stephen King book is for October. But I'm going with Salem's Lot, and I'm pretty stoked. Like, I started to read this a little bit last year. Like, I read the first few pages. Didn't grab me right away. But I'm going to give it 100 pages and see how it goes. It wasn't a DNF or anything. I think I just read a lot of books last October and just wasn't ready for it. But we'll see how it goes. Here I go. It's my shot. It's Salem's Lot. It just fell over there. I'm going to have to... It's quite a mess. I've just been throwing books over there, and it doesn't matter. Let's talk about channel news that I really wanted to talk about. Thank you if you stuck around this far into the video. Really appreciate you. So as you guys know, this channel has continued to grow. This community has continued to grow, and I'm very lucky to be building that community and to have met such incredible people. We've recently unlocked YouTube partnerships, so you can now, super thanks during live streams or a video that you've really enjoyed. And along with that, I've now launched a Patreon, which I'm very excited about. So if you're someone who just really wants to support the channel and help fund and create new content, we have our first tier, which is Baby Wizard, for $1.99 Canadian, even less in US, which is great for you guys. Absolute bargain. And with that tier, you'll get access to Patreon-only updates and my endless and undying gratitude. Second, for people who want to unlock a few additional perks, we have a $3.99 Canadian tier called Apprentice Wizard. With that, you'll also get to vote on our new quarterly Patreon read. So we will be doing an exclusive buddy read for our Patreon members once every 3 months. You'll get a nice shiny spot in our circle of supporters that I will shout out here in every video on the channel. And you'll also get an exclusive Apprentice Wizard role in our Discord community to help show your support. Last but certainly not least, we have our Spellbinder tier, and that tier is $9.99 Canadian per month. Again, even less in US dollars. Absolute steal. What a bargain. With that, you get everything in the 2 previous tiers, plus you'll get access to special behind-the-scenes updates and content. You'll get to nominate a book for that quarterly buddy read that we'll be doing for people to be able to vote on. You will get a special Spellbinder Discord role and also access to our members' exclusive Discord channel. And even better yet, you'll get exclusive early access to new videos and get to watch them before everybody else. So absolutely no pressure at all. I am not a salesperson. I'm not gonna lock any of the existing perks or community behind a paywall of any sort. These perks and Patreon tiers are really just there for those of you who want to show their support for the channel and as a way for me to say thank you for that support. I'm very excited to continue to grow this community. I'm very excited to continue to grow this channel and to continue to make new content for you. September has been an awesome month. I'm very excited for October. I have some really cool things planned, and I'm really excited to show you my kind of like Halloween set and behind the scenes as I set all of that up throughout spooky season. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Reading is a treat, and so am I. Goodbye.